You're with us here this Tuesday morning on Trading Hour. I'm Prashant Nair. With me is my colleague Ekta Batra. The markets are absolutely lackluster. I mean, declines are still more than advances, but it's a very thin margin, and that's good news. Yesterday, by close, it was almost 2.5:1 in favor of declines. And even that was an improvement over the terrible market breadth we've had now for the last many sessions. And today, it's coming very, very close. So on my screen, in terms of actively traded stocks, it's about 800, 850 to about 700 in favor of declines. So declines are still more than advances. The global action has been pretty uninspiring. US, the dollar was bid in overnight session. Yields, stocks, etc. Pretty mixed kind of day. So no clear direction, and I think it's pretty evident here in terms of the screen on our markets as well. I mean, I think you could say the same thing about what's happening in Asia as well. It's all about earnings, and we've had a flood of them coming through, which we will continue to focus on over the next 60 minutes. Lots of hits, lots of misses, and that I think is the spice of the market, because otherwise, in terms of a clear direction, there isn't very much going on for us. There is news on Dr. Reddy's. We'll pay attention to that as well in a bit. Ekta, morning.
Hi, morning Prashant. Well, yes, Dr. Reddy's, that's just a launch of a particular drug. They've already received approval for it in the US market. So that would add a feather in terms of their hat, in terms of the US launches. So positive news coming in for Dr. Reddy's. But let's just concentrate on a couple of other stocks. Prashant mentioned that it's absolutely flat and consolidatory for the markets. In fact, the Nifty is just about hovering at levels of very close to its 20 as well as its 50-day moving average. But if you just want to talk about stocks in specific, there's a lot to discuss in today's trading, in today's trade at this point in time. So we have Axis, which is in focus. We have a lot of the IT stocks which are selling off. So we have Infosys, TCS, which are a bit lower at this point in time, and Bharti Infratel, which has seen a strong run. So that stock has come off quite a bit today. So down around 2.5 to 3% odd. A lot of numbers to reckon with as well. So it's still not the end of earnings season. It will be at the end of this week. So we have Coal India, Sun Pharma, Hindalco, all of these stocks which will be releasing numbers. All three of these stocks, in fact, in the green ahead of that. So a lot to discuss over the next 1 hour. Let's kick off the show with technicals. We have Sudarshan Sukhani joining in to discuss that. Sudarshan, over to you. What is your call on the Nifty as well as mid caps, considering it's consolidating after that strong, downtick that we've seen in the past few trading sessions?
Yeah, good morning again. Well, on the Nifty, there are two different undercurrents. The intermediate trend is down, and the support levels which we are seeing around 10,850 are likely to break on the downside in the next few days. So my suggestion has been that traders should maintain a core short position using Nifty put options and just let it be for the month of February. That's the longer term view. For today, it does appear that we are finding support at lower levels. There may be an intraday rally. So intraday traders could be considering a buying opportunity here. That's just intraday. Mid caps are likely to face trouble as they have been already going through. 1 or 2 days of rallies will be a relief rally, and that's about it. This is not a buying opportunity for mid caps. You have to stay away from them. Today, just for today, there are stocks which are giving long opportunities on the buy side, which is a pleasant change from the last 2 days. HDFC Bank is a buying opportunity. It's outperforming, and that's the reason why the Nifty Bank is also outperforming. Then we have UPL, which is a buy, and Aurobindo Pharma, which is outperforming in the pharma sector. Remember, these are day trades and intraday trades for the long side, but today there's a mild long bias.
Okay, well, Sudarshan, we have a Twitter query for you now. We have Menak, who has 1,200 shares of Tata Motors at 350. Long-term investor and wants to know your
Price is
view
150 now, Ekta.
Yeah, exactly. So wants to know your view on the same. Sudarshan, I'm sure a lot of other investors are in the same boat at this point in time, confused about what to do with Tata Motors. What would your view be?
It's a very difficult question to answer because if the investor has been listening to me on your channel, from 500 downwards, I have been saying avoid Tata Motors, sell it, get out, everything that I could say to warn investors. So for me, coming to 150 is no surprise. When it was 200, on this show also I said it will go into double figures. That's the view. Now it's very awkward for an investor to hear this view when he's already seen a decline from 350 to 150. But at some point you have to accept that this is not working out. Shift to Maruti, shift to Bajaj Auto.
But Sudarshan, you don't expect a recovery. You don't expect a recovery even from a medium-term perspective or maybe a longish-term perspective?
No, I don't expect Tata Motors to have any recovery. I mean, see, 10 or 20% rallies will be bear market rallies. I can't predict that. But this is not a stock you want to own. I don't think it's going to double. Never.
Okay, that's a definitive answer. Thanks very much, Sudarshan. Appreciate you joining in and good getting us your opinion on stocks and, of course, the trades as well. The markets is as flat as they come, 2.5 odd point change in the Nifty. Let's get it going with stocks then, and we're going to address a few of them and begin with Axis Bank. Remember, the offer for sale is going to be open all day today. The government is essentially selling up to 3% stake in the bank owned through the investment vehicle Ceat. Nimish is here with a live update of what the response is like and what the book may look like. Nimish.
Hi Prashant. So this was well anticipated post the budget that this deal will come, and now finally it has come. So it's an OFS by which Ceat is selling 3% stake. The floor price is 690. But the sense I'm getting is today is the day when institutional investors can bid for. That's the 90% of the book, and whatever is indicated so far, it's going to be above 700 is what most of the investors are going to bid for. So looks like this will go through. Anyways, I have a feedback that some of the large global funds are going to bid for this particular block because it's a big chunk that they can get in. So that's going to get cleaned very nicely. Tomorrow is the day when retail investors can participate in the OFS. It will close tomorrow evening. So I guess even for retail investors there is an opportunity to buy into the Axis Bank book. Essentially, that was a logic from the government point as well, that, when they're selling Ceat's stake, they wanted to give this opportunity to the retail investor as well so that they can be a part of the wealth creation going forward. So that's the logic. But as things stand, Ceat owns close to over 9% stake. What they're selling is just 3%. So there will be further supply going forward. But the sense I'm getting is after this particular OFS, they will wait till the next budget. And probably only Axis has always been a filler for the government. Whenever there is a shortfall of money, they come out and put the stake on Axis on the block. So this is an OFS where for today it's for institutional investors, and tomorrow retail investors can participate. Looks like the kind of feedback that I've got from investment bankers, looks like close to 700, 705 is when most of the bids will come for.
Okay, strong response, and the bids could come in around the 705, 706 odd mark. We'll keep you posted in terms of what happens through the course of the day. The other one is Apollo Hospitals. It's in focus on the back of essentially pledge share concerns. We spoke with Sunita Reddy at about 2:30 or so yesterday afternoon. The stock did recover, quite a bit early in the day, and then it's sort of seen another plunge now. It's actually flat, but it's off the lows by quite a bit. Lots of brokers have written on this particular development, the pledge share development. Ekta, what can you tell us? What are they saying?
Well, it was a combination of events yesterday for Apollo Hospitals. It was good numbers, but it was the pledge share issue which really got to the stock, and that's the reason why you saw that stark underperformance in yesterday's trade. So just to reiterate what happened, the promoter's share pledge has basically risen by 5% between December 18 and Jan 2019, and the pledge increase is basically because of the promoters paying to wind down convertible debentures held by KKR. So the promoters have now communicated their intent to sell stake in the likes of Apollo Munich. They said that there is going to be a liquidity event which is going to take place in the next 6 months, and this is probably most likely what's going to take place, and their aim is to basically reduce the pledge by 50 to 60% over the next 6 months. But like you mentioned, Prashant, the stock is off the day's high, so that initial enthusiasm that we saw has come off. But nonetheless, brokerages such as CLSA, for example, have retained their buy unchanged target price at 1500. They say it's a mixed quarter. Revenue and EBITDA in line. Profit was a miss, but the company is confident of addressing the share pledge issue. Edelweiss also maintained their buy target price of 1700. Promoter pledge issue is a concern, but the fundamentals are on track according to them, and they perceive this as a buying opportunity. Citi maintains its buy target price 1640. Pledge concerns overshadowed what was a strong quarter according to them, and it could probably remain an overhang. Business traction, however, should provide a flow for the stock. And lastly, UBS has maintained a buy target price 1590. It's an operationally good 3. good Q3, and pledging, however, is an interim pain which the company will have to face. So overall, yes, there was a concern about pledging of shares, but it hasn't really changed the stance that brokerages have on Apollo in terms of the fundamentals. Most of them have just maintained their rating, and all of the ones that I read out, in fact, are buys.
Okay, Apollo Hospitals there in focus, 1128. So thanks for that. A whole host of other mid-cap companies reacting to the numbers, some good, some bad. Sonal is here with a list of that. Sonal.
For that, and yes, I have a long list starting with GNFC, where the numbers looked optically very weak. Well, the revenues were down around 62%. EBITDA also declined by 81%, and the operating profit margins, they took a big hit. But remember, the plant was shut for around 27 days in this quarter, but there was weakness seen both in fertilizer and the chemical segment. But the stock has taken a sharp downtick. That also could be because the notes of account suggest that the company has an exposure of around 41 odd crores to the IL&FS group, and this time around the company has provided for 25% of that total amount. Other stock that is in focus is PI Industries, where the numbers looked good. That was driven by both the domestic and the exports market. The EBITDA was up around 42%. Operating profit margins also improved by 150 basis points. Well, the exports were up around 40% on account of improved demand, and domestic markets were up around 9%. This despite the fact that the demand has been very soft in the country. Andhra Bank has reported 6th consecutive quarter of net loss. PNL has been very weak, and in totality, in last 6 quarters, the net loss amounts to around 5,000 odd crores. ITD Cementation, good set of numbers. EBITDA is up 9%. The margins are also healthy at 13.3 odd %. And lastly, Amara Raja, where the numbers were not that impressive. Revenue growth came in at 9% versus an expectation of 12% growth. Margins are in line with expectations. They are up 130 basis points quarter on quarter. That is because of decline in lead prices. And the revenue growth in the likes of Exide and Amara Raja, they have been around that 9%. That is the high single-digit number. So overall, the numbers have not been so impressive. Back to you.
Okay, all right, Sonal, thanks very much for that. Well, we need to take a break now, but watch out for the biggest event of the year, the News 18 Rising India Summit, to be held in New Delhi on Feb 25th and 26th. This is one platform where you can catch all the biggest newsmakers of the country, from Prime Minister Narendra Modi, BJP President Amit Shah, to opposition Chief Ministers Kamal Nath and Bhupesh Baghel. Along with a host of union ministers will be Bollywood and sports icons like Deepika Padukone and former coach of the Indian cricket team Anil Kumble. That's the News 18 Rising India Summit in New Delhi on Feb 25th and 26th.